Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel about cross stitch. My name is Dina and today I will be telling you what I've been working on. I was scheduled today to begin working on my Heaven and Earth design, which is entitled A Real Snow Job. This was gifted to me by Marlene Bush a couple of years back. I finally started it this year, and I've been working on it in a diagonal fashion, and I've been parking. And so this time when I picked up the project, I had so many parked threads all the way down, and I thought this is getting a little cumbersome for me. So I think for this session, I am just gonna try to finish off all of my parked threads, and I'm gonna stitch them until they disappear from the pattern, till it's too far to even park, or I'll tie them off, or I'll stitch them until that thread runs out, and then I'll just leave off and take the next parked thread. This is the first step that I do whenever I stitch on my Haid, but there were so many this time that it actually took me 3.5 hours just to stitch my parked threads. So that's been my day today. This is how far I've come, and you can see where my last column was. So this is how much I've stitched today just with parked threads to get rid of the parked threads. So now the next time I pick up the piece, I can fill in the rest of that diagonal with the stitches that are left, and I can start parking again until they get so cumbersome that I have to do the same thing. But anyway, I actually went over further than I would on the diagonal just so that I could finish out some of those shorter threads, and I tied off a few and put them back into my box of threads. The length was long enough to save it to use next time. And I was supposed to go ahead and work on this tomorrow as well because it's full coverage on the 5th. But I had mentioned that I wanted to start a Christmas ornament for full coverage. And so I had determined that tomorrow that is what I was going to do. So I pulled back my Haid for one day this month. It's been the first time I've stitched on it in a while, and so it took me a little bit to get back into it, but I think I'm doing okay. And this is what I'm going to choose from for my new start. I don't know which one I will do yet on Monday, but I think today I'm going to go ahead and take my thread drops that I've made for myself, and I'm going to place these threads. They are already sorted, but I don't want to keep them on this because they're glued down. They're harder for me to get to. So I'm just going to put those on thread drops. That'll be an easy thing to do. And I will decide at some point today which one of these I want to start on tomorrow. I'll come back and let you know. Anyway, this is the ornament that I mentioned I was hoping I would get to stitch on and finish this year, but they are fairly large and they are full coverage. So we'll have to see about that. Anyway, I'll come back and let you see how I did. In the meantime, happy stitching, everyone. Hi everyone, I am back again this evening. I wanted to share something with you a little different tonight. I had mentioned earlier today that I had made up my mind that I was going to start a new Christmas ornament, a full coverage Christmas ornament on the 5th, which is tomorrow. And I'm starting that tomorrow because it's full coverage on the 5th. And since I have completed one of my 2 full coverage pieces, with friends, it's time to have a second one that I can be working on. So I had in my stash a lovely present that my son had given me one year for Christmas. And he reminded me tonight that he had given it to me because he wanted me to try full coverage. And he said he thought this would be my first attempt, and then I decided to do friends. So I did a big one before I started these small ones that he had gifted me. But these are Christmas Village ornaments, and they are 6 separate ornaments, but they are each full coverage. And it is a gold collection kit that my son gifted to me a couple of Christmases ago. And I I wanted to start it last year and didn't get to. So tomorrow I decided I'm starting one of these. And I opened the kit tonight to see what kind of prep work I needed to do so that tomorrow I could spend my time stitching instead of preparing everything. So the kit came with the threads, the fabric, and the instructions. So I read through the instructions completely. I really recommend you do that. You learn a lot depending on what they've intended for you to do. And so I read that, and then I looked at the fabric, and I thought about swapping out the fabric because it is Aida. It's 18 count Aida, and it's only one piece, and I would have to stitch them all on that one piece of fabric and then cut them apart. And I thought, oh, that could be tight, but I don't have any 36 count fabric. So I decided I would just go ahead and use the Aida that came with the kit to keep them the right size, because in this kit, they provided, in addition to the pattern and the floss, they've provided the batting to go in the 6 ornaments. They've provided a gold metallic thread that you are to blend with one of your colors of floss, and you twist it to make cording. In Vana, they don't twist it the way you do. They just twist it. So who knows whether that's going to work or not, but we'll see. And then, in addition to that, on one of the pages, this one right here, they provide a pattern. Not that it matters if you can read it, but the inside pattern is for the board to put it on and the batting to go around it. And then this is how you cut out your piece. It'll fit right in there. So in order to have my templates work, I needed to keep it the same, you know, stitches per inch, so that it would come out right. So I decided to go ahead and keep the Aida. Then I looked at how they suggested to prepare the fabric, and they had a little diagram on in the chart that basically, hold on, ooh, I was afraid I was gonna mess you up there, that basically said to do it like this, and it looks like this. Has a diagram of the piece of fabric turned this way, and it's sectioned off into the 6 pieces. So in half and then in thirds this way. So I did that. I measured with my ruler, and I did the folding technique once I got a couple of things done. So you can see I've been folding it and pressing it with my fingers to find the centers and that sort of thing. So what I did first is I found the thirds. It's 15 inches, and mine was just under 15, but I did count, and there's plenty of room, so that's good. So I used my sulky sliver. This is what I grid with. I've shared that before, but I like it because it's so slick. It pulls right out when you're done. And I don't have an embroidery type machine that uses this kind of thread, so I bought several colors of it just so that I could use it for gridding, and that's what I use it for. So I got out my sulky sliver and I gridded this piece down the center, down each third, and then I found the half mark and I gridded just that half mark line. So now each of my sections is marked off, and it doesn't matter which size you look at because they look exactly the same. I did it every 2 stitches just to keep it nice and even and easy to see. Then, to save time down the road, I found the center of each of the sections, and I took a little tiny bit of the sulky sliver thread and just stitched around 1 stitch one time and tied it so that I can, when I'm ready to start, I can just snip that and pull it right out, and I'll have my center marked, and I won't have to count and count and count. So my fabric is ready, other than the edges of it, which I need to zigzag around, and I'll do that on my sewing machine in a minute, so that it'll be ready for tomorrow. So I've got my fabric ready. And then I pulled out the threads. The threads were on these beautiful sorted colors, you know, these two cards, and they are glued in. So, you know, you can't use that top anyway because it's got glue all over it. At least that's been my experience with it. So what I did is I make thread drops anyway for myself. I keep a supply of them in my drawer. And these are made with Christmas crafting paper, scrapbooking paper. So they're all Christmas motifs. And I just counted out the number I needed for my threads. And as I went down this row, I would just snip one off. I would write on the card, on the back of my card, the front is for decoration, but the back has the number and the name of the color. And I was getting that right off of these little cards. And as I was doing that, I took my pattern that has the colors in it and the symbols in it, and I just put a little dot by each one so that at the end I could make sure I wasn't missing any. I had a kit recently that was missing a color, and fortunately they were DMC numbers and I could fill it in, but this pattern actually says that these threads are dyed for them and that they don't match any other thread, and that if you run out you have to notify this company, which is the Dimensions Crafts, and you have to ask them for your thread. So it's not a DMC. So I made sure I had everything. Now this also has a section, it's an interesting list here. It looks real busy, doesn't it? But basically it tells you how many strands you should have of that color, because this is the old instructions they used to use when you had bundles of thread that you had to pull apart yourself, because it has it broken out in bundle 1, bundle 2, bundle 3, and I didn't have bundles, I had cards. So the other thing it tells you is when you use that symbol, it tells you how many strands you need to be stitching with, and it tells you whether it's a full cross stitch or whether it's a half cross stitch. So based on the symbol, it will vary whether it's a full stitch or a half of a stitch. So this is very, very important to read and understand that guide for the colors. So I have split my colors out, and I only had these little tiny rings left. And so I split them up into 3 small bundles so that I could keep them nice and neat and find them easily. And on the front card, I don't cut the hole in it. Instead, I write on the back the name of the project. And in this case, I wrote the numbers beginning through what was the last number on there, so I can easily figure out which one of these I need to go to find my threads. But this will keep them nice and neat. So now I am ready in the morning to get started. And I decided that I would just look at the key, the pattern. The pattern actually has them numbered in order, 1 through 6. And on this key that I was showing you, there are some back stitching instructions at the bottom. And in this column, it actually says whether that is, it's got a number in a circle. I don't know if you can see that or not, right in there. That's telling you which one of the ornaments uses that color to indicate back stitching for that color. So you really have to watch with your back stitching. So I thought, to be less confusing, I'll just do them in order. So I'm gonna start on number 1 in the morning, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'll stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just in that order, so that I don't get lost as to where I'm at, and I can make good sense of my directions. But I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've prepped my project. This is a beautiful kit. It's still available. You can get it. I have actually seen someone recently working on this on FlossTube, and I thought, oh, that's looking beautiful. Can't wait to get mine started. So I'm going to do that. Well, I'm going to go back to watching my FlossTube now. I was watching Pam and Steph revealing their new starts for October. I'm so happy for them that they've made it to this point and that they're going to have their new starts. And I'm kind of excited that I'm getting a new start tomorrow in October as well. I guess I'm living vicariously through their big starting week in that they're going to have, and I'm going to start one with them. So I hope you're having a great rest of your day, what little there is left for me. It's after dinner time here, so I'm glad that I've got this ready to go now. I'll go spend some time with Coco and the family. But I will tell you a couple of things that you'll see in this video, so I don't forget. It'll be at the end. But my husband has gotten home from one of his long hikes that he does trying to section hike the Appalachian Trail. And he was kind enough to bring me some video of what the shelters look like there. He said he actually came upon one that he calls the Cadillac of the shelters. He said it was one of the nicest ones he'd ever seen. And so he took video of it and explains it, what you're looking at and what the purpose of it is. And I'm going to put that at the end of my video. So for those of you who've heard me talk about him hiking, this will let you see what a shelter looks like on the trail. And then I will be putting in a little footage of Coco and how she behaves when Daddy comes home. It's a video of her greeting him, and so and she was fairly calm this time. She was calmer than usual, so that was good. But I think you might get a kick out of it, so I'll put that at the end as well. I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna spend some time with my folks, and I will get stitching in the morning, and of course I'll come back and share with you what I'm able to accomplish. Happy stitching, everyone. Good night. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Dina and this is my channel about cross stitch, and I'm here today to talk to you about my next full coverage piece. I was able to give a start to one of these beautiful ornaments, and in the patterns, this one with Santa on the rooftop is the first one. So I started this one. It indicates to start in the middle, but I marked my middle and I counted up to the top because I prefer to start from the top corner if I can, and in this case I started from the very top. So here's my progress. I've got most of the sky done, and then I've got the brown, first brown color in those bags in Santa's sleigh in there. This first whole blue section that's representing the sky, so far I've got 3 colors in there, 2 of which are blends, and they're all half crosses, half stitches, and they are one is with 4 strands and one is with 3 strands, and so they are already giving it a dimensional effect when you look at it in person, even though they're only half stitches. Hello, welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Wednesday. It's the 7th of October, and I'm back to give you an update on what I've been stitching. I started on the 6th, another Advent animal. This was for a couple of reasons. One was for one in a series, which is a stitch along I was in for Cross Stitch Finish Line. And the other reason is I just wanted to get it done because I'm trying so hard to finish as many as I can between now and November, so I have plenty of time to fully finish them. But I'll remind you of what Mr. Alistair Alligator looks like. Look at those menacing teeth. But what's menacing about him, he is ready to boogie board. He is so funny on that surfboard or skateboard, but I think it could be either one. I'm not sure. But I think he's cute, and he's obviously a teenager and he wants to get out and play. So I just think that's precious. So here is my finish on Alistair, Alligator. This one worked out for me. There was a prompts, a different kind of prompt I found in one of my groups that we were to come up with our own flavors for pumpkin seeds, and you had to make the flavor tie in somehow to the color you were stitching, and it took 50 stitches to make a flavor for a pumpkin seed that you were bagging your own pumpkin seeds. And normally these Brooks Books animals don't have that much of a block of color all over it the way this one did. But believe it or not, I was able to get 18 different bags of seeds out of this one design. We could be as creative as we wanted to be, and I almost ran out of things for green. I think I had everything from key lime to green beans to spinach. I think I used edamame and broccoli, and I even did lily pads for ponds, you know. Anyway, it was great fun. And now we can only get up to 20. So I only have 2 more that I could do to get them all. They don't have to all be on the same one, of course, on the same project. But boy, was I excited that this one lended itself so well to so much of one color. You know, even one of these gave me over 100 stitches. So I could get 2 different ones in red and 2 different ones in this blue. I did have to use the glasses in addition to to get the second 50. But you know, I stitched them at the same time. I stitched one and then went right on and did the other. So I stitched this one very differently. I stitched this one based on color instead of working my way up or down, you know, the picture, which is what I normally do. I would take the next closest color and I'd stitch it just in that area, and then I'd just keep working my way down, changing my colors. You know, if it was too far at all, I wouldn't stop and count to it. I would just wait till I got to it. But not this one. I had to stitch those colors together. So it changed how I stitched this and made it very interesting. So that was different. That was sort of an experiment today. Anyway, I got him done. So that's number 23. So on this piece of fabric, you'll see I put these too far over when I started. I started him too far over. I didn't have room, I didn't think, to leave enough room to cut them apart, you know, and finish them. So then I came down here and I corrected that mistake, and I put the elephant closer over here, Ethan Elephant. And then I got Pink Panda and Alistair on that one row. And now I only have 2 more, so I can put those down here. I'll have plenty of room. So I'm excited about that. Thanks for letting me share my finish with you. And then now I have something very exciting I want to share with you. Recently, there was a sale on a new website called Rogue Stitching, R-O-G-U-E, Stitching, and as it turns out, I believe they are either working out a deal with Picture This Plus, or they're taking them over or something, but they're connected somehow. And if you know more about that, you can tell me. But I do know that Picture This Plus, when you order fabric now, you will be dealing probably with Rogue Stitching more so than Picture This Plus. I even got a notice today from Rogue Stitching that Picture This Plus was not going to do Fabric of the Month the next year because of their delays in getting the fabric. And I've only been in that Fabric of the Year 1 year, and now they're not going to do it anymore. I was so disappointed. Oh man, so because I really liked it. Anyway, I don't know whether others will get to do the fabric of the year or not, but we'll see. But I have exciting news because recently Rogue Stitching, I think to kind of get you used to dealing with them, they put up a fabric sale. And they have different brands of fabric, not just Picture This Plus. So on their fabric sale, I went and looked at every brand they had, and I found one that I thought I could really use the color in, and I wanted to try it. I hadn't bought anything from them before, and this is called Mountain Air Hand-Dyed Fabrics. Air is A-I-R-E, hand-dyed fabrics. And here's the card if you want to take a screenshot of that. I'll see if it'll focus. Maybe not. But it is roguestitching.com. Anyway, this fabric that I ordered from them is a Joblin. It's 32 count. It's a fat quarter. And the name of it was Woodland Moss. And this is the color. It's just beautiful. It's a solid color almost. It's just got a little, there you go. It's got a little bit of variation in it, but it is a lovely, lovely color. And you may recall when I showed you my starts for 2021, I was gonna do 3 Mill Hill kits together. And they were the little haunted library, the haunted mansion, and the haunted laboratory. And I'm gonna do them in a row like this, next to each other. Whoops, next to each other. So I had said I was gonna stitch these on a piece of fabric that I had that was an stormy gray Joblin, even weave. And I only have a fat 1/8. And I measured it, and remember I said that I would have plenty of height for the buildings, but that I would only have at most 1 inch on each side for this, to put these on here. And I was a little bummed by that because you have to be so careful. Well, when this arrived today, I said, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm gonna swap this out. I'm gonna do this with the 3 houses so I can even put room in between if I want. I don't have to cram them up so close together. And I think that's what I'm gonna do, is give a little more room in between them so they look like they're next door but not touching. And this couldn't have come at a better time. So I'm excited about it. This fabric is serged, and so you know, if you have a chance to order from roguestitching.com and you want to try the Mountain Air hand-dyed fabrics, then feel free. The color is beautiful. I know they have other colors as well, but the modeling is good. The fabric is not terribly stiff, but it's not super soft either. It's not a flimsy fabric like I've heard some people talk about Weeks. It's so flimsy. This stands up on its own. It almost feels like Monaco. It has a nice texture to it. So I will be putting my beautiful stormy gray Joblin back in my stash. And instead, for my Mill Hill kits for next year, I am going to be using my Woodland Moss. It's 32 count, so it'll be just perfect. It's what I had on the other one. So I just wanted to update that for you because I had changed something and I wanted you to kind of know what that was. And I'm so relieved about it. Very, very excited. Okay, so that's my stitching update, and that is my haul. So I think that's everything I needed to share with you this evening. So I will let you get back to what you've been doing. I hope it's stitching. And I hope you're well, and I hope you're enjoying what you're working on. I will talk to you soon, next time I have something to share with you, and I will keep you posted on what's going on with me this month as we go along. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday. It is the 11th of October. Oh, time is marching on this year, isn't it? I'm sure a lot of us will be glad to get this year over and done with. As soon as I started recording, Coco goes to ring the bell because she wants my attention. She's already been out, so she's fine. But you may hear it a time or two. Oh, today I'm so excited to tell you that I have a finish. I had hoped to finish it by the end of the month. I had planned on stitching on it 2 or 3 times in order to get there. And when I really got into it, it didn't take as long as I thought it might. And so that was a pleasant surprise. But I have been working on my memorial piece for Leanne, and this is winter time. Excuse the glare, maybe that's the best. There you go. This is in honor of the piece that she stitched, and also Barb, and their beautiful pillows that they finished. But this piece just reminds me of her, and so for her memory of this year, I wanted to do that. So I made a couple of changes, very small changes, but I'll walk you through them real quick. This is my finish. And I changed where the word at the bottom said winter by using this W, and then it just had INTER down there. I changed it and put 2020 on there because that is the year that we lost Leanne. And so I wanted to commemorate that. I wanted to finish it desperately this year for that reason. And so I was tickled to death. I wouldn't put that year in until I knew I was going to finish it this month. And so yesterday I put it in. And then I got up this morning and all I had left to do were the little snowflakes, the little tiny ones. And the reason they were left is I was planning to use beads. I thought, oh, how pretty to give it 3 dimensions. I'm going to use little beads for all those single snowflakes and not have to do all those stitches, all those separate little stitches. Well, I got out my white beads and they are bright white. And this is an overdyed floss called Oatmeal. It is not bright white. It is an, oh, I don't know, not a tan white, but kind of a dirty white. Anyway, it isn't bright white. And when I tried to put those little beads next to the stitching, which it is right up next to it sometimes, it was stark. It was a big contrast. So it didn't blend well. It didn't look like part of the piece. So I had to bite the bullet and go back and do all those little individual snowflakes this morning. So instead of beading, I did a bunch of pin stitches, and I'll be honest, I ran some threads because I'm going to put stabilizer on the back of this, and then I'm going to see about getting it turned into, I think, a flat fold. I don't think I could do it justice as a pillow. I don't think I could do it as pretty as Leanne and Barb did there. So I think I'll do a flat fold instead. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think the colors look really, really pretty on my fabric. This fabric, in case I haven't mentioned it in a while, is Sandcastle, and it is a Jobelin. So it is an even weave, but I really like it, and I think it turned out really, really pretty. So that was really, there's one other change. I had a mistake in counting. I started from the bottom up, and then I came up here and did the top, and when I got close for them to meet, this row up here was one too far in one direction. And so in order to fix it, I had to frog out just a little bit of the stem here and realign it. And when I did, the gap that's supposed to be in here, there's a 1 space gap that was supposed to be in here from the stem and the top, I had to close that up because the stem came right up under the gap, and that looked kind of funny. So I just had to close it up. So making that one adjustment allowed me not to frog this whole stem of the T all the way to the bottom. And so there was a little bit of an adjustment there, personalization, as we say. But I think it turned out really pretty. I think those colors pop on this fabric. And I like with the sandcastle, that little red tint in the colorway there, you know, in the modeling, really looks pretty with those reds and helps them really stand out. I did this as called for, this little word white that you can't see hardly. You can see it okay, but I'm going to leave it there because you know what? It's sort of like having a little sweet spirit there, kind of looking over our shoulder. So anyway, I think it's beautiful, and I'm delighted to have it completed this year. So I know many of you are doing pieces in honor of Leanne, and I would love to hear about them, you know, in the comments below if you've done one or are doing one. But anyway, Barb, we love you, and we love and miss Leanne. So I just wanted to share that with y'all this morning. I am on my way to a meeting at the church, and then I will be back this afternoon. I don't know what I might be picking up to work on. I think I had slotted to work on Giggles in the Snow today. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to get really to work on it now that I've finished this morning, because Coco seems to be very needy today. I think she senses when her dad's getting ready to go on a hike now, because she knows what it means when he starts dragging out all the equipment and the food. And so she has become quite clingy this morning. He's getting ready to go again soon, and I think he's just checking, you know, his stock of everything, his meals and things like that. He gets some freeze-dried food and things that he might need time to order, and so I think that is, I think that's kind of why she's becoming very needy this morning. So we'll see if I get to do that or not, but at any rate, I think I have plenty to share with you today. So I may close this off and upload it this afternoon while I'm playing with her in the living room. So we'll see. You might have a video coming up today. You can thank Coco for that. I hope you're having a great time of stitching. I hope that you are well and healthy. It is fall here. I've got on a little vest today because I'm going outside, and it's just brisk enough to want to have a little something, you know, extra. And so it's almost sweater weather, and that's my favorite. Have you heard the bells? They just keep ringing. I'll go take her out just to satisfy her, but I hope you guys are doing very well, as I said, and I hope that you are enjoying your stitching. Happy stitching, everyone. Hi everyone, this is Dina, and I have a little tiny piece of video that my husband took for me on his last hike. In addition to the video that I'm going to put at the end where he's given us a tour of the shelter, he actually took a small video of himself when he is getting water to be filtered for his water bottles. So he just left, can you tell? Coco is whining. A while back when I was stitching, he watched me take a project off a Q-snap, and he lifted up one of the Q-snap clamps, and he said, this would be perfect for me for hiking, and I couldn't imagine why, but he said that he could use it to redirect the water into a flow that would flow into his filtering bag for filtering his water. And I thought that was, you know, an amazing proposition. So for Christmas, as a joke really, I ordered him a set of Q-snap clamps and put them in his Christmas stocking. Well, he uses them. And so he actually videotaped it for me. So I thought I would share it with you because here is another use for your Q-snap clamps.
People ask me, what is a shelter on the Appalachian Trail. Well, most are just three-sided buildings that provide you protection from rain, with a stream nearby and sometimes an outdoor privy. This one is the exception. It's a double-decker shelter. Let's get a little closer and I'll show you around. Shelters will always have a picnic table. I say always, 99% of the time they do. But not all shelters are two-story. This is the Bryant Ridge Shelter, dedicated in the loving memory of Nelson Lavelle Garnett Jr. in 1991. Doing pretty good for a shelter that's nearly 30 years old. This would be the main living floor. Just provide you a platform up off of the ground, somewhere to lay out your sleeping bags, and an air mattress. Get you out of the rain. As I said, this shelter is two-story. Now, I'm not going to climb up there with my 35-pound backpack on my back, but let's just say you climb these steps to the second story, and there's probably room for another, oh my goodness, 10 people up here. This thing that looks like a meat hook is used by some hikers to hang their bag up at night to get it off the ground, maybe to get it away from the mice. But I'll tell you, the mice can't climb down that meat hook and get to your snacks in your backpack if they want them. Now you're looking out from inside the shelter. Most shelters will have a fire ring. Now, not all shelters will have a kitchen countertop, but this one has more than one. There's your second kitchen countertop, and lots of room for seating. This can suffice as a kitchen countertop, a bench. Most all shelters will have a broom to sweep out the remnants of the mice. So you'd stand here, boil your water. You can tell by the burn rings. For a lot of people, they've boiled their water just a tad too much. Sit down, take your shoes off, rest a while. And let me introduce you to the people that maintain this shelter. There you go. If you look a little closer, right up here, this is where Mickey and Minnie Mouse live. They make sure all the crumbs and chips and other things are kept clean off the floor. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tour of the shelter, and I hope to see you again soon.
This is what we do every day. We walk out and we look for Daddy. Yeah, watching for Daddy to come home. So sad. Hello, where have you been? Where have you been? I've missed you. Where have you been? Come on down here. Where?
What have you been doing without me? Have you been having fun?
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, what a good girl you are. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
Oh, you're such a good girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come here.
Hey, what have you been doing?
What you been doing? Hey, come see me. Come see me. Come here. Oh my goodness, all over. Oh my goodness gracious.
How's everything been going? Have everybody been treating you right? show you all. Oh my goodness. Did you pee before I got home?
No.
Come here.
I tried. She wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't pee for me. Come here with me. What have you been doing? Oh my goodness. Come on. Open it. Let's go open the garage door. Let's go inside. Come on. Come in with me. Come in here with me. Hey! So, what is Coco so obsessed with? Chickens. She can't take her eyes off of the chickens.